feeling pretty depressed. And life is pointless, so let's do something completely pointless. 'Cause why not?
Tomorrow, likely to borrow that disc lamp, okay?
Okay.
Because Mikey's light's died, okay?
Oh, I think I've got a spare.
Harry,
I've got a spare.
let's do a disc lamp.
Yeah, I'll grab it later.
You had any fuse problems in here? Lights going out? Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
we need to set up a light.
Yeah, I'll get it later. What, do you need it now?
No. Depends.
Coming up. Don't worry, don't worry. Hopi. Relax. Zen, Hopi. Well, that was fun. Hello, people who are watching me do random stuff. Yeah. So life is great. Not really. My household is chaos, if you manage to watch enough of that. No. This way. Or maybe not. No, there it is. Come on. Right, so chat's not working again. So I have to get backup phone to be able to see anything that's going on. Top chat, if I change it. Oh, here we go, actually. I might have fixed it. Hello. Cool, don't need this anymore. Yes, slightly disturbing. When did you send that? What time is it? Hello. Yep. Old lady coffee shop. Yes. I'm not particularly okay. Yeah, things are working now. Let me get comfortable. Give me a moment. Smoothed down our paper. I've given the people what they want. Now let's give the people what they really want. Sorry. More like that. Ta-da! Yeah, the fuse for the main light blew earlier. I think they fixed it. But we'll just have the mood lighting because I think it suits where I'm at. Now, maybe I need to just like double check that I'm still getting all the things. But yeah, so I don't know, my mood's been pretty bad today, and when I go for dog walks with that little one, you know, people say exercise is good for your mood. Going for walks tends to be when I have some of the worst thoughts, and I don't know if that's because I'm away from distractions or what. But yeah, it sucks. Okay, good. I think it's still working. yeah, also I've done like nothing today because I was supposed to have psychology, but she's sick, and so she cancelled a few days ago. And I did come up with some ideas of like, maybe I'll go buy some music cables that I need. Just catch a train for an hour because the place I want to get it from, I don't know, there's places closer, but not that great. I could make my own cables, but that kind of costs about the same as just buying them anyway. So I could get on a train, just sit for a bit, buy some cables, come home, get out and about. Might do that tomorrow, seeing as I have to leave the house to vote anyway. But I guess it depends whether or not I find democracy sausage, which for those of you overseas, democracy sausage is how they make Aussies vote. Voting's compulsory here. I think it's a good idea because that way the extremists never get into power the way they do overseas. They have to, all the politicians, or at least the ones that are serious about getting anywhere, they have to pander to the center. So yeah, nothing ever gets too crazy. We go through a few phases, but it's not so bad. America is a lot worse. And the UK seems a bit odd these days as well, and yeah, who gives a shit about the world though? His life kind of just sucks. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know what time you guys started watching me with my paper, but yeah, there was a lot of noise. I helped get Mikey away from the TV and go to bed, but then they were fussing over the light, and if you go back, you'll notice they just, well, this is mostly Dad, straight away go, oh, let's take my desk light. Not, let's go see if we've got a spare. No, it's take my one. Luckily, I have some spares. I asked them like a month ago, hey, do you guys need spare lamps? And they're like, oh, I don't know, just put them upstairs. And so that's where they were. I thought I still had them in the side room because that's where I was keeping them for a bit, but no, they're upstairs. In their space. But no, let's take my lamp. And what they don't know about my desk light is the thing that connects it to the desk. Like, it's not one of those ones that just stands on a base. The thing that connects it to the desk is really unstable. The plastic is like one crack away from breaking. I have to be very careful about how I position this lamp, otherwise it'll collapse on itself. So even turning the light to come this way, had to be very particular about how I balanced it. So you can't just take my light, not just because like it's my light, but because it doesn't function the way that you're going to expect. And they of course don't know anything about this. So yeah, I had to go off and, this is not a problem that needs to be solved tonight, but apparently it is. So that's why I went off to go and get it and just give it to them, and then they can stop bothering me. But of course, there's so much fussing and so much noise, and Mikey is definitely tired. That's why I helped them, do the things that you need to do to get him to bed. Easiest thing to do, just turn off the TV. And he goes, oh, it sort of puts a break in his brain, one activity to another. It doesn't always work, but if you just turn off the TV, it sends a signal to him to go, oh, this thing's finished. And then he'll go to bed. I don't know, it's weird that after all this time they haven't figured out things like that about how he works. If you don't know, Mikey is my disabled brother, intellectually disabled, and a little bit physically, but mainly intellectually. Yeah. And then with all the fussing, I think once they finally figured out what was wrong with his light, they left him in there playing on his tablet for a bit longer. But I had seen him yawning in the other room, that's why I put him to bed. And the kicker is, he had a mini seizure this morning, and he had a mini seizure yesterday. And we don't really know what causes it sometimes, why now, he's been fine for ages. But maybe it's because he's tired. Corona. Oh, it's still active everywhere. It's become normal, so we don't hear about it anymore, even though people keep dying, people keep getting long COVID. No, it's not a problem. Sorry, I can hear noises. And not just hope digging. makes me feel uncomfortable. Give me a moment, especially if I'm complaining. God forbid I complain in front of him. Oh, you want to go, Hopi? There you go. Maybe I'll speak more quietly, seeing as this is like one of those dodgy ASMR things. Yeah, COVID. Regular room. Look, my regular room is in the middle of the house. So, you know, with people still walking around and all the fuss, kind of don't want to. Here, at least, I'm sort of down the end of the house. Also, the floor space is much cleaner because I haven't left all my stuff everywhere. There's a bunch of videos I want to make that actually have to do with fashion type stuff. Like, there's the t-shirts that I made, and then there's a few other things like birthday stuff, and so that's kind of scattered all across my floor. Whereas this floor is clean, so if I'm spreading out paper and ripping up stuff, it's just, yeah. So that's why I'm not in my regular room, but this is sort of like my studio now. And I managed to stop my parents putting a spare bed in here, like when my other brother took his giant double bed away. You know, I spent some time rearranging the space, and now it doesn't make sense to put a bed in here, thank God, because the last thing I need is to have a space that's just constantly been, like, has the threat that it's going to be taken over by someone. I don't know who, because we don't really have visitors. It's like maybe mum's sister will come and visit, or like my cousin. That's not going to happen again, not for that long. I think it's nice to live with. Yeah, in theory, yes, but I think it's a source of a lot of stress for me. If you go back to earlier in this stream, I'm sorry, I don't have the time codes because I wasn't paying attention, but there are some spots where things are a bit, you know, I even signaled to Dad that I was live streaming and he just sort of didn't. There's a little bit of Dad in it, a little bit of the voice and a little bit of his huff when I'm like, don't immediately drop everything to get up and do what he wants. I think you can also hear my parents stressing in the background because they were quite loud even with the door closed. I really need to get out of here. When you feel there wasn't, is that too much? Look, it's just the same stuff that I've lived with for ages, you know, like, they'll take care of me physically, but, you know, they get stressed easily. I think also, like, particularly with Mikey having seizures, they're going to be stressed for the next few days, and they won't be able to admit it, and I will cop some shit for it, so, I don't know. Maybe I should try and be out of the house for dinner, because I think dinner is when I'm gonna cop a lot of shit, especially because, like, I've been really tired and I've had no energy some days. Like, some days my arms have felt really heavy. You know, I was having a lot of trouble sleeping, but I think, you know, I've tried to get back on top of sleeping, and I think some of it was my hay fever kicking up, especially the headaches. It just took me a while to figure it out because hay fever is usually sneezing, and instead I'm just getting headaches. I am using the Nasonex, so maybe that stops me sneezing, but then I get vague about the other hay fever symptoms that I get. It's really fucking dumb. But yeah, so I've increased the antihistamines, and like I'm using the hardcore spray, Dymista, which apparently you don't need a prescription for anyway, anymore, and it's a bit cheaper now, although that doesn't really make much difference because I was getting it back on private health insurance, but whatever. I don't think I had much of that left. But yeah, so I'm using that. I do wonder if, like, I'm having some really bad mood problems at the moment, and I'm not sure if it's, you know, because I'm still stuck in this environment, and I feel trapped because there's a lot of stuff that I just feel I can't do, and we've had tradies around doing a lot of work, and, you know, first thing in the morning, the hammer's going off and the drill's going off, and there's so much noise. I actually did manage to sleep, like get back to sleep this morning though, despite the noise. I must be really tired, but you know, I wonder if, like, obviously sleep is probably affecting my mood, and then increasing antihistamines is probably affecting my mood. But I could just be on another one of those spirals anyway, which I'm not really sure, like, why is that? Sorry, I kicked the thing. What's confusing to me or frustrating to me is, like, you know, one of the things that I was really like hanging out for was to do the whole band thing, and now we've got a band project going, and we're actually making progress. Like, we're writing songs pretty quickly. I think we've got pretty much got 5 songs already, which is like what, in the space of maybe a couple months. What is it? Yeah, that's pretty good. I should feel better. You look like, I don't know what that is, sorry. But yeah, no, like without progressing, I should feel better and doing all the music stuff. But I kind of don't. I'm just like, I'm still having the depressive spiral. So that's why I'm like, maybe is this a biological thing? But then again, like I am still stuck in this environment, which I don't think is the best for me. Oh, see, I don't know Harry Potter. I'm not a fan of Harry Potter. Because that's just not how I view wizards. I read Earthsea, A Wizard of Earthsea. The first book is the best. Second book's pretty good. Third book, fourth book, I had no idea. So but the first book was really good. If you've read A Wizard of Earthsea and you know anything about me, you'll see exactly why I got into it. But in that, like, magic actually has consequences, whereas in Harry Potter, it's really kind of shallow. I mean, I obviously haven't read the books, but I was made to see. I tried to read the first book, and like after a while, I'm just like, oh my god, you fucking kidding me? But no, I was made to see the first Harry Potter movie by a friend in school who was like, it's my birthday, you have to come, and I went, and never again. It was not my thing, so I don't like Harry Potter. Um, but mostly because that's just not how I view wizards. I like that more like complicated view rather than just a bunch of kids running around. And like the Wizard of Earthsea, that first book actually has like a wizard school in it, and it's much more interesting. And yeah, Lord of the Rings. I liked the Hobbit book. I didn't really like the Hobbit movies; they're too long. Lord of the Rings. See, there's some mixed feelings around that. First of all, like, so dad, when I was younger, dad bought me The Lord of the Rings, like as a trilogy, like for a birthday present, the trilogy Lord of the Rings. Because he liked it, not because I liked it or asked for it. And I remember that was a really bad birthday for me because I was so upset. And, you know, like it was just like one of those signs that my parents didn't understand me. And I tried reading it, and it was too much of like describing the valley that they're going through. I'm just like, well, fuck. I don't care. Get to the story already. The Lord of the Rings movies were not too bad. The Hobbit was a waste of time, but yeah, like the movies didn't make me want to read the books. And also, when I moved in with my ex, I took a bunch of my books over, and Lord of the Rings is one of the ones I left behind because of the way that it reminded me of that incident in my childhood where they bought it for me without considering what do I actually like. It was just what they like. So yeah, I left it with my ex. I left it with the bad feelings. Yeah. I don't know what I was talking about before that. Oh, depression. Yeah, I think I'm going into another depressive spiral, and I've had the thought, like maybe I should take antidepressants. Like I was going to stop seeing my psychiatrist, but now I'm a bit concerned. And I mean, I've got 2 options basically. Shit, I really need to get a lot of shit off my chest. You know, I was trying to make a video blog earlier today, and I just couldn't because there's nowhere that's quiet. And even now, I'm a little bit nervous, but hey, we're live, fuck it. Um, yeah, I think I'm going into another depressive spiral, and I've had the thought, like maybe I should take antidepressants. Like I was going to stop seeing my psychiatrist, but now I'm a bit concerned. And I mean, I've got 2 options basically. Shit, I really need to get a lot of shit off my chest. You know, I was trying to make a video blog earlier today, and I just couldn't because there's nowhere Yeah, no, depression. So the two options that I have in terms of taking antidepressants that my psychiatrist has suggested, given that I've tried pretty much every class of drugs, like the standard stuff, one is the bupropion, which, oh, hello, Stream Elements thing. Buy my merch. Eventually I'll do a promo, although I might be too depressed to do a promo. Maybe I'll just wave the t-shirts at you and that'll be done. Sorry. Where was I going? Sorry. Bupropion, which I know is the schizoid dopamine bros' favorite drug of choice. Things about that, so it's also known as Wellbutrin overseas, I think, and Zyban here. Thing is, it's only officially approved in Australia for quitting smoking, so he would have to give it to me as a private script, which means it's more expensive. It's not covered by the PBS, so I can't get it for cheap. Also, like, I think my psychiatrist is American, and that's probably why he's suggesting it. Sorry, my feet are getting a bit cold. And there are like some concerns, although it's mostly if you mix it with a serotonin, an SSRI, because then you can get serotonin syndrome. But yeah, there were a few things about it. Like you're only supposed to take it for a certain amount of time for smoking. And I'd say there's a reason that the TGA doesn't approve it for depression and doesn't approve it for longer use. So I have some concerns about that. The other drug that he could give me, yeah, thanks. Yeah. The replay will be here, so if you want to catch up on anything you missed. But yeah, no, the other drug that he wants to give me or try me on is lamotrigine, which is actually what Mikey takes for epilepsy. Now, and that's kind of hilarious because through a lot of my life, like, you know, Mikey, despite his condition, he's the happiest kid around because he's absolutely unaware of his situation. He just goes through life, everyone takes care of him. He has no cares in the world, so he's really happy. And I've sometimes joked in the past, like, oh, I wish I could take what he was taking, you know, as if that would fix me. But now it turns out the psychiatrist is suggesting one of his drugs to me. That's just kind of hilarious in a weird way. The thing with that, okay, so there's not actually good evidence for it working for depression. But there is some evidence of it working for depression in bipolar people. The early evidence is weak, but apparently that's because you have to go onto it very, very slowly, which means in the early trials, which were only for about 8 weeks, they couldn't get people to a high enough dose to actually know if there was an effect. I think in later studies, it seems to have shown some efficacy for bipolar depression. Thing is, I don't have bipolar. So I'm a bit like, and then if you do it wrong, you can get skin conditions or something. But yeah, so, and it sounds like it takes longer to get it to work. And I'm a bit like, maybe I need something sooner than that because this spiral's not good. But yeah, I don't know that bupropion is really great either. I feel a bit stuck, and I kind of wish I hadn't gone off citalopram when I did, because I think it was helping, but on the other hand, it was definitely affecting my appetite, so you know, the trouble with side effects, it's sort of like, you know, where is the balance point? And because I'm so sensitive to side effects, like even if I tried these two drugs, so one of my concerns is I try the antidepressants and then I get bad side effects and I have to put banned stuff on hold because I can't function. That's a very real possibility if I try that, but I don't really know what else to do. I'm hoping that this is just a temporary thing because I have had a lot of sleep disruptions and I have increased the hay fever stuff, the antihistamine stuff. So, you know, I probably need a week to really be sure if, you know, I'm on a proper spiral as is, or if those things are the issue. But yeah, I don't know. And also, this is the psychiatrist who seemed to decide before I even walked in that I had autism. So do I really trust his judgment? I'm not sure. I'm gonna see my GP on Tuesday and, you know, talk to her about whether I should keep seeing him. I don't think she realizes that I'm still seeing the psychologist as well. Yeah, I don't know. I probably needed to see my psychologist today, but she's sick, so what can you do? Would have got me out of the house. Because I haven't been out of the house for anything other than dog walks in a couple weeks. I think I did all that socializing, and then I had the really bad sleep problems, and so I've just like been in low power mode since then. But yeah, no, I've been having a lot of negative thoughts and just struggling. And like I think all my parents are really have picked up on is that I might be tired. There's no point talking to them about anything, so I don't think they realize that I'm doing as badly as I am. And I also have this feeling that something really needs to change in my life. Like something kind of dramatic, and I just can't figure out what that should be. Because like, you know, change is risky, so I don't want to get it wrong. You know, for example, just trying to move out all of a sudden, that's not going to go well. I explained in yesterday's video some of the problems with that. But like, yeah, apart from like attempting to move out, what really are my options? I don't have a lot. I should probably get out more. Energy is a limiting factor there. I don't have like chronic fatigue syndrome or anything, but some days I feel like it's not that far off. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck for ideas, and so I end up sitting around ripping up paper. Bit of a performance art thing, I guess. I could make some of my own music in between, you know, when there's not a lot for me to do with the band stuff. I've got like these paints. I got some cheap paints to try and get me back into doing some of the visual arts. I could do bonsai. I was almost going to do bonsai today, but I just had no motivation. The tradies all actually left about halfway through the day anyway, so, you know, that space was available, but yeah, I just really couldn't motivate myself. Yeah, I really don't know what to do. And like, you know, I do feel trapped in my life, and feeling trapped is not a good thing for someone with mental illness, because then you get ideas. And there's just like no good help for someone like me. Pretty much all I can do is buy lottery tickets. That's the best I've got at this point. I've tried, like, so today I was trying to think about behavioral activation, which is I think a CBT thing, and it's sort of like, you know, if you do stuff, it's supposed to help you feel better. But I was trying to think of things to do. Sorry. Yeah, I think that was just Dad checking on Mikey before he goes to bed. I think they've both gone to bed. I'll just feel better when the light's off. To the stairs, I mean. Yeah, okay, we're good. What was I talking about? Behavioral activation, trying to think of activities to do. I also looked up, like, what do people do when they're bored? What do people do when they're depressed? What do schizoids do to pass the time? And just didn't really come up with anything. The best I've come up with was smoothing out paper and ripping it up. So. Which turned out to be a lot more full-on than I was expecting because, yeah, the light went out and they started fretting, and then Dad's harassing me for, you know, my desk lamp. You know, probably because I didn't get up straight away. I'm the selfish one. I'm like there's kind of nothing I can do to get out of that perception with them. So why try? Like, one of the things I was thinking about is, you know, why don't I try and do more stuff? And I think part of it might be just like, I don't know if this is a learned helplessness thing or if there's another word for the specific situation, but I was a good student. Sorry, I was digging the chair again. I was a really good student. You okay, babe? No, he's still going. Oh my god. You know, like with the whole glass child situation, so disabled brother, parents spending all their energy on him, I'm sort of ignored, I'm the oldest kid, expected to be responsible and all that kind of stuff, whereas my other brother, not so much, and also he played sport, and the kinds of sport that my parents like, so they connected with him more. I used to have to tag along to watch his sport games, whereas he wasn't really made to come to much of my stuff in reverse, so I was always going to other people's stuff. But no, I was a good student, quiet, just did my work. You know, by the time I got to, they already knew I was a smart kid in primary school, but then in high school started getting 100% on my maths tests and stuff like that. But even as a high achiever, like, it was still not good enough for my parents. You know, this is child logic, okay? Child logic is I do so well academically and I'm still not getting the attention that my brothers are getting, which is probably, I reckon that's probably part of the reason that I wanted to be a boy when I was younger as well, because I see the boys getting all the attention and it's like, well, maybe that's my problem. That's probably subconscious because I didn't think with that kind of logic as a kid, but I can imagine my brain putting those dots together and being like, no, I want to be a boy. And so maybe that's where some of my tomboyishness comes, although, you know, I'm told I was always shaping up to be different. I was just always a weird kid, but, you know, I think my parents were really not equipped to raise a female at all, so there's that. But yeah, no, I used to do really well on my exams, and then, you know, occasionally I wouldn't get 100%, and the joke was always, oh, why didn't you get 100? And then if I did get 100, the joke's, oh, why didn't you get 101? You know. There was a point in, I've mentioned this before, there was a point in my teenage years where I just stopped telling my parents my marks, because why bother? I would, you know, either I did well and it was just like more of the same, or I did badly and it would be like, why did you do better? So, and, you know, what I was thinking about when I was walking my dog today, instead of exercise making me feel better, I was thinking about that and thinking, if as a child with all these academic achievements and child brain thinking it's still not good enough, why would I try with anything? Because I worked hard, Yeah, it is. I didn't think it was sound at the time, but in hindsight, I can see all this stuff, and it's just like, you know, no wonder I'm so fucking screwed up. But yeah, I can see how that would entrench a pattern in my brain that says it doesn't matter how well I do, it's still not enough. I'm getting a bit cold. Get my Hunten back. But yeah, no, I can see my brain going, you know, if it's not going to be good enough when I'm getting 100% on a maths test, why try at anything? And there were some hiccups in high school where I tried less. I think year 9 and then year 11. Managed to get back on top of things for the HSC, which is like the final school exams in Australia, sort of determines what you can get into in uni, at least as a, you know, first year out of school. There are other pathways, but it's really hyped up as a big deal. It's like the exam of high school. I did pretty well. I didn't really need my UAI, Universities Admissions Index. I think it's called ATAR now. That's how old I am. I was on a different system. I think my marks actually scaled to a higher mark in the equivalent ATAR, which is interesting. But yeah, no, it's sort of like I worked hard as a kid and it wasn't good enough, so why bother? And maybe that sort of comes back to some of the existential, nihilistic, whatever you want to call it, kinds of ways that my brain thinks. Is like there's no point doing anything because nothing's good enough. Now, good enough for who? I'm assuming that child brain is still hung up about not good enough for my parents, even if something's good enough for me. I assume that's where the angst is directed. Obviously, I'm mentally ill, so it's a little bit hard for me to know, like, even being inside my own head, it's a little bit hard for me to join up the dots and know exactly why my brain is working the way that it is. But I assume that's the logic. And I think the fact that my parents upset me so often when very little else upsets me is probably a sign that that is still a hang up for me. It's just, yeah, like they're the ones who can hurt me. That must be just the thing. So, you know, because they won't change, I think ultimately my goal has to be to get away. Now, again, I want to reiterate, it's not like they've, you know, they give me a place to live, and I think they do care. I think they're just really oblivious, and they're caught up in some really bad thinking patterns, and they need therapy, but they can't admit it. They think it's pointless. And I think they also don't want to confront their issues. So, and you know, they're older now. I don't think that they're even capable of change at this point. Like, the amount of therapy they'd need is too much, and like, I can't even get them into therapy. Like, Dad came to some of my sessions, but it was such a waste of time because he came for the wrong reasons. So, yeah, I don't know, I need to find a way out of here at some point. I don't think I can leave while Hope is still around, so that could be like a few years because he's doing so well. But then with these animals, these small animals, they can deteriorate quite fast, so I have no idea when that's going to be. And also, like, yeah, okay, I can't leave because of him, but also he helps me wake up in the mornings and helps me do things. And like, when I am feeling negative, if he needs me, I can put on that sort of, I guess, more caring maternal kind of vibe. So it's a little bit easier to pretend to be okay when I'm looking after him because I'm focused on him. So, you know, like, I can't, if I show too much negativity around my parents, they do get a bit of a just shit vibe towards me. So, you know, that kind of helps with that situation as well. But yeah, no, he does also get me up in the morning. So like, it would be better if I could move out and take him with me. But I just don't see that as a realistic thing. And especially, you know, that's probably not enough. I probably do need the music and the art and probably the bonsai. I don't know, just like, if I move out and I can't do my hobbies, like, it's sort of like, why am I staying alive? And why am I being in financial stress when I can't do anything that I want to do? Not that I want to do a lot, but every now and then I get a bit of inspiration. And I think also some of my mood problems at the moment have been because I can't do a lot of the video making that I want to do because they're always around. I don't know when they're going to be around. Sometimes they'll go to the gym or to lunch, but they don't tell me ahead of time for me to be able to plan stuff, and I get tired of asking. And then also, like, there's the workmen who've been around, and then Mikey comes home at a certain time. So, you know, there's just not good enough windows for me to make videos. And I mean, if you watch earlier in this stream, just Dad coming in twice and all the noise, like, you sort of get a vibe of, like, I could sit down and try and make a video, but I don't know when I'm going to be interrupted. There's not really any respect for that. The door's closed. This door doesn't lock. Trying to get onto that, but, you know, then they just knock and try and barge in anyway. I think mum's a bit better at leaving me alone. The problem I have with her more is just not having the maternal thing so much. Like, her way of caring for me is very standoffish. It's more about food and stuff, I guess. I think she's very awkward about feelings. And that's why, I think that's the real reason she says therapy doesn't work, because she doesn't want to believe that it can help her, because then she would have to confront her emotions, and she'd rather just shove it all to the side, distract herself. And, you know, I get that, because when I'm not distracted and I've gone for a walk with my dog, that's when I start thinking about more stuff, you know, the fresh air getting into my brain, and then everything spirals. Whereas Dad's the more abrasive one, and yeah, has trouble with no respecting my boundaries, you know, giving me some space. And, you know, like you said, you didn't need the light straight away, so why harass me right now? Why can't you ask tomorrow when I'm not doing something? Or send me a message, or, you know, like, not everything has to be talked about right now. A little bit like their news watching habit as well, because they watch so much news. In the afternoons, I've mentioned it's like Channel 9, Channel 10, Channel 7, and then Channel 2, you know, across the span of 3.5 hours. But, like, earlier in the day, when I come out and yeah, thank you. We'll go to the old ladies' cafe. I lost my train of thought anyway. Oh no, the news thing. So, like, they watch so much news. When I first get up in the mornings, like, I get up pretty late, and sometimes even if I'm up early, so if I'm up really early, I might, it looks a bit like that, I have a similar problem. Treat myself like my parents did. I don't know, because I'm trying to work on my emotional problems, and I'm trying to figure out how to escape my situation. I'm trying to work out, like, you know, I've even considered the whole dating again thing. Didn't really go well. But, like, I keep trying to change, whereas my parents don't. Yeah, no, with the news thing, right, so, well, first, with waking up. If I wake up too early, sometimes, like, you know, if I try and sleep, sometimes there's just a point where I know I'm going to keep tossing and turning. So if I have the energy, I get out of bed, have some breakfast, potter around for a bit, and then when things get quiet again, I go back to bed and then snooze. So there was a day where I went back to bed around 10:30, snoozed until about 12, because I just really needed it. But other days, you know, if I've managed to doze off like I did this morning, I woke up maybe about, like, woke up for the final time, as opposed to waking up and falling back asleep over and over and over because of the noise around here. Around 9:45, I think I woke up, but Mikey's carers get in at about 10, and things are noisy and they're all out there, and it's just a lot. So I'll stay in bed until 10, but then I think that's when he had his mini seizure, and yeah, so there was a bit of fuss and they sat him down by the sounds of things because they were quite loud. I could hear half of what was going on. So they sat him down for a bit, which is fair enough. He needs to recover. And then, yeah, he didn't really leave until after 10:30. Around 10:30, like, I was trying to stay in bed. I was like, there's no point getting up right now. It's just going to stress me out. I'll wait until they leave to get out of bed. But they didn't leave until after 10:30. So, that's frustrating because, like, I think one of the reasons that I'm not a morning person is because I'm trying to avoid the situation. Because I've mentioned before in the past, when I was younger, out of school, but only by a couple of years, I did try to become a morning person, but I realized if I got up early, they would just make me feed him avocado, and he can be quite gross, honestly. Like, that's just a fact. It's not me being mean. He can be really gross. And yeah, so like avocado, oh my god. Yeah, no, they just make me feed him, and it's like, well, what's the point of waking up early if I'm just going to be given a chore that I wouldn't have to do if I hadn't woken up early? So I think that's part of the reason that I've just been stuck in this kind of, like, they don't do that to me anymore, but the damage is already done on my young brain. But and then, yeah, like, there's so much noise and stress and chaos and so on. So I try and wait until things have calmed down and it's more peaceful before I get up. But yeah, this morning Dad was home, and he had gone upstairs, but then as I was sitting down to eat, he was downstairs again, and he does this all the time. Like, I'm having a nice peaceful time, maybe reading an article on my phone, looking out the windows where we've got the gardens and things are nice and quiet, and then without even asking, he'll just turn on the TV and bring the noise because I'm not watching the TV, so it must be fine. I was enjoying my peace and quiet. I don't think he would ever understand that if I brought that up, though. And the thing is, like, that he did that this morning, and to watch the news, knowing full well that he's going to watch a sequence of news later. And also, if anything's on the news that you want to know about, you can just look it up these days. You don't have to watch it then and there. But no, got to have the noise invade my quiet time. So I just was like, when I saw him sitting down going for the remote, I was like, oh, I actually said this time you're going to watch the TV. And he said, yeah, just catch up on the news. And I'm like, well, all right, I'm out here then. And I went back to my room because that's where I could get the quiet. But the thing about my room is it's cold and dark. It's on the dark side of the house. It's the coldest room in the house. And there's not even any point opening the window because the neighbors put this lattice up, so you don't even get much light in, even if you open things up. So it's quite dark, and it's not really a good place to have your morning, having a bit of morning light from the outdoors is ideal. But no, so I had to have the artificial light. I turned on my little desk LED thing, just to try and get a bit of light into my eyes, but it's not great and it's not as relaxing. But I just needed to escape from that constant news stuff. Like, my parents have no chill. They don't know how to be zen. I feel like they feel uncomfortable if there's silence, or, like, they can do reading and they can tap away on the computer, but they've got to, maybe the thing is they need that constant stimulation. I noticed they use their phones more than me as well. They actually watch, what do you call them? The reels? Reels on Instagram. They actually watch those and flick through them, and I'm like, really? You guys are like boomers. I'm the one who's supposed to be addicted to that, not you. And, every now and then they send me a reel and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't care. I'll occasionally watch something if it comes up on Facebook, but I've started closing that because it's always garbage. And I know I make shorts here on YouTube, but I do that knowing that it's garbage. I sort of make it ironically. Occasionally mini vlogs as well, but just because it's easy. But on the whole, it's such a shit format, the whole TikTok thing. Fuck. But yeah, no, it's interesting. And like, Dad plays Sudoku on his phone. I don't know if Mum plays any games, but she, I gave her my earbuds that came with my phone, and she will wear them a lot. And she always has the noise cancelling thing on, so to get her attention when she's got them in is difficult, and she'll be out in the garden hacking away at some poor defenseless plants with the music blaring as she dances away, chop, 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 you know. Yeah, I think they just don't know any chill. I don't know why I know chill, because like I am internet addicted. I spend a lot of time on my PC on the internet, but I can also spend time and just like chill. I don't need headphones on the bus. I don't need that constant noise. Even though, like, you know, my thoughts can be pretty negative, I don't need it. Like, you know, you can just sit there and listen to stuff. And I've done that for as long as I can remember, I think. Like, I did try the MP3 player thing. But yeah, no. Anyway, so I don't think they can understand that I just want quiet time. And I don't want, like, you know, if I was in the room first, can I have rights to like the noise in the space and just keep it quiet instead of you come along and just presume to turn on the TV and have that noise and the same news stories that we're going to hear about later in the day? You know, and it's all the same stuff. It's all stuff that I can have no effect on for the most part. You know, we've got the referendum tomorrow, so I do have to vote tomorrow and I do have to be informed about that. But you know, the news hasn't been that helpful. I read the pamphlet, you know, that they put out, and I've read a few other things. So I'm like, okay, I'm informed enough. I don't really need to know about everything else and like, you know, the same sort of basic stories going on and on and on. And yeah, there's a lot of problems in the world, but what am I going to do about it? You just want me to stress about it? Like, I can't affect things except when I vote, pretty much, because you know, and then they also watch trash news. So like, you know, oh, there was a car crash in America, miles away. And so there's car crashes all the time. Just happened to catch one on a dash cam, and oh, it's dramatic. Let's put that on the fucking TV station and get some ad revenue from all the people's eyeballs. It's like, what? Just a lot of pointless stuff. And I just want to chill. I just want some quiet. I don't want all that. But of course, I can't say anything because I'll just be branded as selfish. I'm not the one picking up the remote and putting something on that no one else wanted to watch, but I am the selfish one somehow in that situation, always. Better just check that the chat's still working. Yes, good. Yeah, no, it's just... the situation I live in is just frustrating. And I think when I was ripping up the paper a bit more violently, probably came across there. Anyway, so is that all? I mean, I do kind of want to watch Xena. What time is it? I still have time to watch Xena. Angry? I don't think I have enough emotions to really know what anger really is. I can be annoyed and frustrated, but whether it's the level of anger, I'm not sure. I think that, like, you know, I do have schizoid personality disorder, so I think I may be able to be more expressive than other people, and I definitely feel despair. But I think my emotional range is stunted. So anger, I don't know. Like I could say that I'm angry at something, but I use it more as a sort of like a figure of speech. It's not that I actually feel angry. A bit like how when I say, oh, I hate such and such, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have these strong feelings of hate. It's just sort of like a way of saying that you don't like something a little bit more dramatically, you know, add a bit of color to it. So angry, I don't know. I feel like I should be angry, but then I'm a glass child as well. So, you know, I've been trained not to feel that. I've been trained to be the good girl and not cause problems. At least that's what I did for ages, and then I got mental illness with my troubles, didn't I? And now I am my own form of trouble in a different way because I'm so screwed up I can't look after myself properly, can't really get a job, or at least I can't get a job without wanting to off myself, so that's not good. I can keep a job for a certain amount of time and then I just sort of can't anymore. And I think I'm at the point where it's like, I don't think I can do conventional mainstream work anymore. So it's a shame that I can't really make YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that drop out for a moment? Yeah, to do well on YouTube, you have to have slightly more mainstream appeal in some form, in some niche that has enough of an audience. And I just do whatever I feel like. I rip up paper and then go on a depression vlog. Yeah. It's like YouTube's one of the few hobbies that I can do reasonably consistently. So, yeah, I haven't really been able to think of what else I could do. And a lot of things I do are creative, which is also not a way to make money. And especially not the level that I'm at, because I'm constantly jumping from thing to thing and constantly losing my inspiration. So I can't ever get good enough to make those things sufficiently monetizable. But I can't go back to doing retail. I can't handle bonsai because physically I'm not cut out for it. I'm just really stuck. I don't know what to do with my life. And, you know, getting a job, making money, like the point of it is to stay alive. You know, you get money so you can get food and shelter and all those things. And I don't really like living, so what's the point of doing something that I probably don't really like? You know, all the ways to make money I don't like. And so I'd just be doing it to stay alive, which I also don't like. It's sort of like, see, this is where the logic starts to get dangerous, because then it's like, oh, well, what's the point of being here? Maybe I should take myself out, kind of thing, which, you know, that's, I know what they say, you know, it's a permanent solution to what might be a temporary problem. Now in my case, I've been going through this for decades. And I'm still here, still hanging on to my lottery ticket that things will get better. I don't really believe it'll get better. So it's just a matter of like, how long does my endurance hold out? Now, I am a bit stubborn, and I remember in high school, PE classes, we had to do like these sit-ups, and I think the second time we did it when we were older, I wasn't as successful, but the first time I got through it, got to the end of like the 60 very specifically done sit-ups, out of pure willpower, because I was like, I will not be defeated by this exercise. So, I do stuff like that. I don't know if I can keep living purely out of spite, but that's one thing that sometimes helps. I don't know. I probably did need to see my psychologist today. Instead, it's going to be in another 2 weeks, and I haven't seen her for like 3 weeks, because the previous one 2 weeks ago got pushed a week earlier. So this is a long time between psychology appointments. Now, I don't know that psychology appointments really do much for me, but it's another avenue to have a rant and, I don't know, just have someone keeping proper tabs on me in a more professional way. Although I don't know, I don't think this psychologist reads my psychology diary, so sometimes I wonder why I'm keeping it. I know my last year psychologist was reading my psychology diary, because that's when, like, you know, she got pretty concerned. I think towards the end of last year, I was really not doing badly. So, you know, sort of got a few things in motion, safety plans and whatever. I don't know. I don't even remember. But like, I knew she was reading the stuff, so it felt like writing the diary was worthwhile. And now I'm like, I don't know. The main thing that the diary does is just helps me remember what I've been doing all week, because I forget so easy. I think because my life's so boring. Can't remember what I did the last few days. I probably didn't do very much. Yeah, it's like the Nine Inch Nails song. Every day is exactly the same. There's a bit of that. Also, you know, they say as you get older that time passes faster because the frame of reference is changing. But a lot of days are just really long for me. Time passes quite slowly. I mean, there's never enough time to get anything done, but it feels like the day took a damn long time. One of the things probably helping me at the moment is the Neopets website is really slow, so I can't just zombie my way watching YouTube and playing Neopets on the side because, oh my god, it's like having dial-up internet on that website again. They're running an event, and I think they've chosen poorly. They've basically incentivized bots, so yeah, bad move. Bad move. The whole website is slowed to a crawl, but that has helped me play it less, and so here I was ripping up paper. Anyway, I'm gonna watch Xena, I reckon. Give you a minute to ask any more questions last minute, but yeah, I'm just not doing well with life, and I think as I become more and more aware of the idea that I need to escape my life, you know, when I thought maybe my parents could change, I think it was easier to stick around. But as I've become more convinced that nothing's going to change, I increasingly feel the need to escape, but I can't escape. So then I feel more trapped, and I wonder if that's part of the spiral, on top of the sleep and possibly antihistamine, mucking with my mood. Yeah, you know, I know my parents care on some level. They just, the way that they care is more about physical needs. They're not good with emotional needs. Never have been. Mikey's still the top concern, my disabled brother. I get it, he has high needs, but he's not the one suffering, honestly. He has such a good life, and the NDIS made his life better, made my life worse because now he doesn't leave as early and he gets home earlier most days, which has affected my sleep. Also, like my parents retiring, that's made things more difficult. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. You know, some days I think the only reason I'm still alive is because my dog. Because I know my parents can't look after him properly. They have no fucking clue. I think that's just, you know, if I've got maternal instincts, it all goes to him, and that's about it. Oh, possibly another thing that might be screwing my brain up is seeing my other brother go off and, you know, girlfriend and stuff, and he's having a more normal life, and I'm just like, I don't want that normal life, but I'm also aware that the reason I don't want that kind of a life is because I'm damaged, and then I can see how I have lost something. Like if I had a healthier childhood, I should be going off, having a relationship, having kids, finding fulfillment in some kind of work. Like that's what I should be doing. And now I can't even want that because I'm so damaged. To me, it sounds like, it feels like a trap. Yeah, the whole thing of being aware of the mental illness and being aware of the implications, like it's a bit of a mind fuck as well. Yeah, things make sense, but it doesn't change how I feel, how I experience things. It's just giving me like the why, but not the what now. What now? Try and escape, or make plans to escape eventually, but I don't know how that's going to work. You know, cost of living keeps going up, especially housing. I'm fucking trapped. I need to win the lottery. Like, I can't think of any other way. I think that's my stuff and things. I gave you plenty of time to say anything else. How do I check that the chat is working? Oh shit. Sorry, the chat keeps, screwing up. Okay. Zoid, avoidant, depressive, IT addicted. Anger and other emotions that I want to talk about in group therapy. Group therapy sounds terrible. Look, I think one of the reasons that I'm frustrated that music's not really working for me at the moment is because music is one of the ways that I get some kind of emotional catharsis, but I did all my singing exercises and all my warm-up songs and just didn't start to feel anything. I probably should have put on one of the more reliable songs. But yeah, just couldn't bring myself to do it. There's a lot of talking psychodynamic theory about repressed anger towards parents in general as a source of depression. I do think, like, my situation is, do you want to pose a particular view on you? Yeah, no, I can see how stuff with my parents in my past and also my present, because I'm still living in the same basic situation, I can see how that affects me. So I think I've got a reasonable grasp on how I ended up like this. What I don't have is, what do I fucking do now? How do I pull myself out of this? It's not as easy as just going out and getting a job and getting enough money to move out. Like, it sounds simple, but I would probably off myself because it would be too much. I've tried so much in my life and I'm still keep coming back to this place, and the depression's getting worse and my ability to function's getting worse, and I keep trying things and things are working less and less, and it makes me jaded, and it's concerning that to me that music isn't doing very much, and that's why I sort of wonder if I need to be on the antidepressants again, because I think when I was doing Rainbow Death Ray I was on antidepressants through most of it, and then I wasn't, and that is probably what set things in motion to eventually kill it off, because then I wasn't equipped to deal with my grandparents dying. Now I don't know if that's grief for them or if it's like existential stuff, having to think about death, but my grandma dying did trigger a lot of shit for me. Maybe also because, like, she used to take me places and, things weren't perfect with her either, because she was, like, quite strongly Catholic and had some very specific views, and there was a little bit of a difficulty when I became an atheist until she, like, talked to a priest at confession or something, and I'm pretty sure the priest told her that I would go to heaven as long as I was a good person, and so she stopped stressing and telling me I was doomed. But apart from that, like, I went on a bus trip. The whole bus was little old ladies. I was the only, like, young teenager there, and we drove down to Canberra, stopped for scones in the middle, came back up, stopped for scones on the way back. We went to see some art gallery stuff. It was pretty boring, but, like, I used to do stuff with her, and, when I was sick, I went to her place, and, my grandparents' place, and, I guess when things were shit here, we used to stay at the grandparents' place. So, I wonder if maybe, like, in hindsight, knowing the schizoid stuff and now recognizing the glass child stuff, I wonder if maybe some of my struggle then could have been because I saw her as, like, subconsciously might have seen her as a better connection than my parents, and then losing that. I remember, like, when she went into the nursing home, I struggled as well. And in hindsight, maybe that's what was going on. Maybe that's why that was difficult. But also, I had stopped taking the antidepressants at that point. I think maybe when she went into the nursing home might be when I first doubled my antidepressant dose, and maybe that's when I realized my appetite was being fucked. But yeah, no, so by the time she passed away. I had been off the antidepressants. My appetite was back, but I think I just couldn't cope because I was also burning out from work, doing work during the day, coming home doing band stuff at night. I was trying to do way too much stuff, not on antidepressants, couldn't deal with the emotional fallout. Even if I try to convince myself, or like I felt like it was more because I was contemplating the idea of death and sort of looking at my life going, this isn't actually what I want to do, and then going in an existential spiral. I think subconsciously there was also the connection to my grandmother that maybe having that, you know, taken away probably triggered something. I probably, like, you know, like, I think they talk about this more in DID circles, but the idea is that, like, well, in that case, in the DID circles, they say that, like, when, for example, an abuser dies, that can trigger some of the DID stuff. So I wonder if when someone more positive in my life dies, and then I'm stuck in more of this life, I wonder if that triggered some stuff for me in a different way in, like, terms of depression. That's just a thought, like, you know, all this is theorizing, and, you know, in a few years' time, maybe I'll have another insight and be, actually, here's what happened. So this is what I'm thinking now as a possibility. But yeah, so I think being on antidepressants did help me do a lot, though. You know, with the band, I went on those antidepressants. Those were my second antidepressants ever, and I went on them when I was living with my ex, and shit was not good. And then after that is sort of like when I got in my first band, and when I started Rainbow Death Ray, and I was doing actually a lot of stuff, and I wonder if, like, being on the antidepressants probably gave me the extra energy. It wasn't perfect because I was still getting a little bit depressed here and there, but I was doing a lot better than I am now. Although, caveat was, I was also in my mid-20s, and that's sort of, you have energy at that age, whereas now I'm in my mid-30s and I'm old. And, you know, you see those memes around where, like, 20-year-olds are partying and 30-year-olds just want to go home. So I can't be sure that it was the antidepressants, but I probably shouldn't have gone off them. I probably did need them. I do sometimes wonder, though, if maybe I would have been fine if I'd never been on antidepressants, and did I get a dependency? I don't know. They do change your brain in some ways. But, like, you know, I can't go back on a lot of stuff, and I probably do need to be on antidepressants. It's just the side effects often aren't worth it. So let me toggle this again, because I think pretty sure there's no more chat. I'm just gonna check on my other phone because it was playing up earlier, and if there's no more chat questions, then maybe we should wrap it up, unless oh good, it's still working. Like a streamer, my problem is seem like a likable person. Yeah, a lot of people like me, and I feel a bit weird about it because it's not like I'm doing anything in particular, but, like, I'm not trying to be likable. But maybe that's the point, because I know my ex wanted to be liked by people, and he manipulated the shit out of them, and then wondered when we broke up why so many people preferred to stay friends with me and not him. So maybe it's because I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I don't know. Or it could just be, though, like, one thing about likability is sometimes it's just this subconscious thing to do with how symmetrical you are physically, how symmetrical your face is. Now, my boobs are not symmetrical. One is, like, noticeably bigger than the other. But, like, in terms of my face, maybe my face is more symmetrical than his. But also, he was a dick, so yeah, anyway. I don't know, it's just, like, it's kind of weird because I'm not trying to be friends with anyone, but people are friendly to me. Maybe that's another schizoid thing, though, that I just don't, it doesn't occur to me. Also, like, females and males being different, I think some guys have thought I was flirting when I was just being nice or polite. I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole other sort of whoa thought experiment kind of thing. Like, yeah, I don't know, kind of just do my own thing, and Anyway, yeah, no, thanks for watching this kind of strange stream. It started off as ASMR performance art and turned into the rant that I probably needed. I really want to escape my life, but there's not a lot of options, so I'm just gonna keep buying my lottery tickets and see where things end up. Yeah, stuff and things. Got to vote tomorrow, so at least I'll get out of the house for something other than walking my dog. Do I go somewhere? Do I go on that 1 hour, well, 1 hour in each way, train ride, buy some cables? Or do I just get my democracy sausage if I can find it and then come home and wallow some more? I don't know. We'll see. Stuff and things. Catch you later.